Begin this morning with the latest from Palm Springs, California, and the deadly car explosion outside of a fertility clinic that officials are calling an intentional act of terrorism. One person was killed and 4 others were injured. Officials described the blast as powerful. Multiple businesses had windows blown out and suffered structural damage.
Make no mistake, this is an intentional act of terrorism. The FBI is investigating it as such. This was probably one of the largest bombing investigations that we've had in Southern California.
Officials added that they had a person of interest in the case, but were not actively searching for a suspect and assured residents there was no ongoing danger to the community. Late last night, law enforcement tactical officers were seen outside a residence in 29 Palms, about an hour away from the site of the explosion. Officials told NBC it was related to the investigation into the Palm Springs explosion. Joining us now, MSNBC law enforcement analyst Jim Kavanaugh. He is a retired ATF special agent in charge. Jim, as always, thank you very much for being here on this breaking news morning. First things first, given all the reporting that we know and what I said in the intro, what stands out to you? What should we keep in mind?
Well, I think we're talking about terrorism. Obviously, that's always a headline topic, and certainly it is. But if we want to understand what really happened here, I think we ought to look at this as an intentional act of suicide, because that's probably what the driving force is, as much as or more than the target. Certainly, the person targeted the clinic specifically because usually in these cases, and I've worked many bombings of women's clinics and arsons and shootings at women's clinics, they're not happy with what goes on there or who frequents the clinic or some other twisted thing in their mind. So, but it's attached to that facility. But suicide is a big leitmotif running through this, as strong or stronger than the terrorism motive, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Jim, officials say they have identified a person of interest but are not actively seeking out a suspect. For those that are watching, what does that mean? It seems that they've zeroed in on someone, but they're not ready to name them just yet.
Right, that's right, Eugene. I think what it is they're talking around the scene because they don't have all their facts. But if you look at this holistically, if you look at it from all the totality of the facts and circumstances that we know, that's probably the bomber, and he died in that blast. I mean, that is not a survivable blast if someone's in that vehicle. You can see from the aerial shots, if you look, the car in the bomb would likely right into the clinic. It drove right up to the facade of the clinic, or maybe even into the clinic, and detonated the device. It shot the car back through the parking lot, probably on fire, and it collapsed the structure. And, the roof would have went up, and of course the shotgun effect through the street and shot the debris through the street, shot the car backwards, because explosives detonate in 360 degrees. And, they take the path of least resistance. So they're going up and out in all directions, and that's the way it's shooting the debris. So we can tell the car was pretty close to the facade right there. That's where the crater is, just beyond we call the crater or seat of the blast, just under that collapsed facade of the fertility clinic.
Jim, last night I was covering this story, and the FBI official cautioned that we need to be patient because it is such a large blast radius, about 250 feet, that it's going to take a while to get to the bottom of this and to understand that explosives were used. An eyewitness spoke to us, though, and he said, he was in a nearby store, and that he said it was very loud, definitely, shook, and he felt the impact and agreed that within the block radius that there definitely was blast impact. What does that tell us about what kind of explosives were used?
Well, I think we're looking at high explosives. We have a velocity here, a shattering effect. We call it in the business a brisance of the explosives, a very fast velocity of the detonation. So maybe some high explosives, dynamite, C4, TNT, something like that. Of course, smokeless powder, which is gunpowder, can be configured to detonate like that if it's contained. This is a bomb in a car. I used to train my subordinate supervisors to, when they got on the scene of a bombing, not to deny the obvious. It's a bomb in a car, and or a bomb near the car. Or maybe he got out of the car and was holding the bomb. It's possible as well. But it's not a meteor, and it's not some other act. It's not a gas explosion. This is a bomb, and a bomb attack at that clinic is a criminal act. And certainly the debris is spread out. That's normal in a bombing. The car and the crater, the seat of the blast, will have the most evidence, and they'll be looking for the residue of the explosives, which they can swab the car and swab the metal parts. And the ATF laboratory or the FBI laboratory or even the state laboratory can check that and determine what type of explosives it is. And that helps them as well. And once they go to the bomber's residence, they'll probably find out where he bought it. The reason I say that, talk about that, is if it's a suicide, which I think it is, he's not hiding all this motive, and he's not going to be hiding even where he made purchases or acquired explosives or materials or fusing and firing systems, triggering systems. He's not even trying to hide all that if he's in suicide mode. And so that's all going to be very evident and once they get to his residence.
Hey, Jim, help me understand something here, because NBC is reporting that Akil Davis, Assistant Director of the FBI's Los Angeles Field Office, said that officials have identified a person of interest but are not actively seeking out a suspect. If the alleged perpetrator committed suicide, as you've said multiple times, then who is this person of interest? What kind of person are we talking about here, potentially?
Yeah, well, right. Well, the assistant director is doing the tongue twist here, not to try to give up too much information, but they suspect the deceased person is the bomber, basically. If we want to say this in English, that's basically what it is. And they suspect that the person who died is also the person who made the bomb. So he's their person of interest, and they're not seeking him because he's deader than Julius Caesar. That's why. And they know where he is. He's in pieces around the clinic. And so that's why. I mean, it's sort of, a little bit, maybe a little bit too much police speak, but we have to understand the assistant director's position. They're always very cautious. They don't want to say the wrong thing. Just like you guys in the news business, you have to be very cautious. Mm-hmm. I have a little more room because I can analyze this based on my 36 years experience being a bomb guy, an investigator, and all that. So I can analyze it based on experience. When you guys look at it, from the Washington Post or MSNBC, you're saying we have to confirm it 3 times. And the assistant director is sort of in that position too. He doesn't want to say anything he hasn't verified, a couple of ways. But I think at the residence, they're going to find the treasure trove of all the information. I worked on Unabomb on and off for 17 years. I was one of the original case agents on that case, and I always said, once we catch Unabomb, it's not going to be a mystery. Everything that we want to know will be right there in his residence, and that's going to be the case here as well.
Mm-hmm. Jim Kavanagh, thank you so much.